Hello and welcome back. In today's video, we are going to be creating some Halloween cards. Now, I personally love a little bit of creep. The creepier, the better, actually. However, today we're going to be taking some adorable Spellbinders products and creating some cute Halloween cards. Now, this is the Gnome Drive Collection, and there are 5 dies in total in this collection. Now you can buy them all separately. So here is the original. This is the Gnome Drive Holiday. And in this die set, you're going to get the car and the gnome, and then you're going to get some Christmas items. This is adorable. You can arrange the little gnome in the car so he's driving, and then you can load that car up with like a tree or presents. And this is just a whole lot of fun. And if you love this idea, they released 4 other die sets that can be added onto this set to stretch it throughout the year. Now they have a Hearts for You set, which is great for general love and Valentine's. They have a spring set, which includes your Easter and your St. Patrick's Day, things like that. They also have a graduation add-on set, which is adorable and is filled with these great images like a diploma and an apple. This little pencil is adorable. And then of course they have the Halloween. Now, if you're telling me, no ma'am, I don't like gnomes, I want nothing to do with them, they give me the heebie-jeebies, that's okay, because the gnome is only in the main set. Now, I personally think he's adorable, but these add-ons are filled with images that you can use on their own, which is what I'm going to show you today. Now, I will have a sample card at the end that shows the gnome in the car and all the good stuff, but I wanted to concentrate on how you can stretch these add-on sets. So my card today is going to mainly feature the Halloween add-ons. Now in this set, they've included the dies to build a little pumpkin. I think it's a lollipop. That's what I'm going with. It looks like a piece of candy, like a pumpkin-shaped lollipop. You get a little cat, this ghost, which I have absolutely fallen for. There's something, he's so little, but he's so cute. The witch hats. You've got a small one and a large one, and the large one can be used on the gnome, or you can put the hat on the pumpkin. Now, like I mentioned, we're doing a cute Halloween card today, so I've pulled out some pinks and oranges, and we're going to accent that with black and white. So I've pulled out Spellbinders Pink Sand, Dahlia, and Persimmon, I believe. I will have everything linked in the video description below, as well as a link to the full collection over on Spellbinders if you want to check all of those out. I'm going to be turning my pumpkins into balloons, and not just any balloons. They're going to be little shaker balloons. So remember back in the day when we used to buy those big balloons and they were filled with confetti and sometimes stuffed animals and stuff? That was my inspiration for these. So I've got a bunch of flat shaker bits that are iridescent. And instead of messing around with foam tape to create little shaker boxes for these, I decided to just cut several of them and stack them one on top of the other. And then the eyes, the nose, and the mouth would create separate little chambers there that I could sprinkle my shaker bits into and then just seal up the back. So I'm going to cut multiples. I think I did 3 or 4 from each color so that I'll have a light pink, a dark pink, and an orange balloon. I've gone ahead and cut all of those off camera, and now it's time to adhere them to create our little shaker boxes. So I'm going to do one here, and then I will do the rest off camera. All right, so the first thing I need to do is grab some acetate. Now this is going to seal up those holes there, the eyes, the nose, and the mouth. So I'm going to just trim that down to fit. I've got a little rectangle here, and then I'm going to notch off the corners because we're putting it on the back of a round pumpkin, a round-ish pumpkin. So we're going to clip off those corners, and then we can glue this right to the back here. Now this is the perfect opportunity to share the My Sweet Petunia Precision Glue Press with you guys. My Sweet Petunia was kind enough to send this to me, and I've been using it for several weeks now. You get the stand, you get the glue press, you get a bottle of Nouveau glue, an extra empty bottle, and 2 tips, a fine precision tip and an extra fine precision tip. Now you can see here that the glue press rests in this stand here, and there's a silicone stopper at the bottom that the nozzle of the glue rests on. Now this silicone stopper creates an airtight seal and keeps your glue from clogging or drying up. You can leave this on your desk, which I have for about 3 weeks now, just resting in the stand with no cap, and it has not clogged at all yet. So I have the extra fine tip on this bottle right now, and this is the Nouveau glue. And you can see just how little glue you can apply with very little pressure. I'm barely touching the trigger on this thing, and I'm able to get very fine, very detailed lines of glue. This is a lifesaver for me with putting together all of these smaller dies. Now, the press is made to fit and work with the Nouveau bottle shape, which is why they've given you that extra empty bottle that you can refill with the glue of your choice. Now, all of these advantages are wonderful. The press itself is amazing, but the really amazing thing about this is it is great for those of you out there that might have some dexterity issues or some arthritic issues with your hands. If those smaller bottles, squeezing them causes your thumb pain, this might be something that you definitely want to check out. I think it is great that My Sweet Petunia is looking out for those who, again, might have some issues with their hands, and this will make crafting easy and fun again. All right, I finished putting together the rest of my little pumpkin balloons, and now it's time to fill them with their shaker bits. Now, I'm going to use these. These are both from Martha Stewart, and this is ages old, you guys. We're all hoarders. I've looked for it before. I couldn't find it again, but any little flat, small shaker bits will work, and we're just going to fill up the cavities here with some shaker bits. I'm going to put a little bit in each eye, and then I'm just going to use my finger to push some of them into the openings of the mouth. The nose is so tiny, I'm not even going to worry about that. But we'll just slide some into the open bits. And then we just have to seal them on the back the same way we did with the clear acetate for that top layer. So I've cut down some black cardstock here. Again, notched those corners. And then just adhere that to the back of each balloon, and that is going to hold all of your shaker bits in. I like to set this under an acrylic block while it sets, and then here you can see how cute our little shaker pumpkin is. And this is going to be perfect because we're going to put the entire arrangement on an action wobbler. Yes, we are going to have the best little shakety bits. Now, I've already gone ahead and cut out the little cat and the ghost that go in the set. And now I'm cutting out the two witches' hats. Now, the larger hat is meant for the gnome, or you could put it on the pumpkin here. And then the smaller hat you can fit on the ghost or the kitty cat. Now, I did not use the large hat on this card, but I wanted to show you how to put these together. It's really easy, very minimal parts. But you've got a little hat band here, or a band to go around each of them. So you'll die cut the larger one and then the smaller one. And then they've also included the pieces to die cut the little buckle that would go on the belt band of the hat. And it adds the cutest little detail here. So I've cut it from mirror silver cardstock. And oh my goodness, how adorable is that? It's just such a great little detail. And like I said, there's a couple pieces in here so you can put it together a couple different ways. I'm just showing you the super simple way to put it together. I like to use the outline, and then this little piece here, it's going to emulate the buckle on the smaller hat, but you can also use it on the larger hat to add that extra little buckle detail. And here is where that glue press comes in for the win. You can see here, these pieces are pretty small, but thanks to the precision tip on that glue press, I'm able to apply just the tiniest amount of glue and adhere these pieces in place. Lifesaver. Oh my goodness, just stop it. How cute is that? Guys, I'm in love with all of these little dies. They're just so adorable. So for the eyes, instead of cutting the eyes from black and popping them in, it's just as easy to attach a piece of cardstock to the back. There you go. His eyes are in place. We'll glue his hat on, and oh my goodness. I can't. I just cannot even. And if you think he's cute now, just wait. We're going to make him even cuter. I'll do the same trick for the cat's eyes. Put a little bit of white cardstock behind the holes of his eyes, and that's going to put the whites of his eyes in, obviously. There you go. Super cute. Okay, so we're going to dress these up a little bit in a minute, but for now we're going to push them to the side and we're going to work on the background. And for that, we're going to use the Spiderwebs background Better Press plate. Now, I'm not using this necessarily for the letter press technique. So if you've watched my Better Press review video, which I will have a link to, I can use different substrates in here to get different results. So instead of using the Better Press paper, I'm just using some 80-pound Neenah cardstock. And again, this will give me less pressure because it is a thinner paper when it goes through my die cut machine. And instead of getting the impression of the image and a physical impression, I'm just transferring that image. Now, I do get a very, very slight impression, but again, I just want this gorgeous pattern. You don't always have to use the Better Press for the impression, the physical impression. Just play around with your substrates. And I mean, this is an image transfer, just like a stamp. All right, so let's look at putting it all together. Now, the pumpkins are supposed to be like a lollipop. So they have a lollipop stick in the Halloween set. But I want to turn these into balloons, and I want them to be tied to the cat's tail. So I noticed in the Hearts for You set, they have balloon strings because the hearts are balloons that the gnome can be holding while he's driving in the car. So I've pulled out that set. I'm going to use those strings over here for my pumpkin balloons. So you can see here, they're connected at a central point at the bottom, and this is going to be perfect for me to use to attach it at the cat's tail. Like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be mounting this whole thing on an action wobbler. So the entire little cluster scene there, I'm going to put on an action wobbler, and these are quite fine. So I'm layering them up to create a little bit of stability there. I don't want any weak points in my final little cluster there, and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about here a little later. So I'm stacking those just to give them a little bit of rigidity. And then there is a little bow in the original Gnome Drive Holiday Collection. So I'm going to pull that out. I'm going to cut the little bow from black as well, and that's going to be the tie point where it attaches at the cat's tail. So when I'm creating this arrangement, I need all of the pieces to touch in at least 2 places. The little ghost, I think, only ends up attaching in 1 place, but it's such a little piece, it's okay. But again, for stability's sake, because the whole thing is going to be sitting popped on an action wobbler, I need all of the pieces to be connected to each other in at least 2 places. So while I'm arranging, I'm keeping that in mind. Now it's time to dress these little guys up just a little bit more, and I'm going to go back to that Love for You, Hearts for You add-on set, and we're going to take the heart. There's a couple hearts in there in a couple varying sizes. This one was perfect to have him holding a little heart. I originally cut it from the light pink, but then decided to swap it for the darker pink. And it looked kind of weird. It looks okay, but I was like, I wonder if I can make it look more like he's holding it instead of wearing it. So I remember that there's some arms in the graduation add-on set for the apple. So I pulled that set out and looked at the sizing to see if I could get it to work. And lo and behold, it does. So here is the Gnome Drive graduation set. There's this adorable little apple in there. You can cut just a regular apple. There's also an insert drop in here where you can make the apple. There's a word for this, and I can't think of it. When it comes to me, I'll tell you. But he's got these little arms in there. So you give the little apple a little face. Anamorphic. Oh, there's a word. I need to Google that because I can't remember now. Anyways, so I'm going to cut the little arm that's meant for the apple, and we're going to use the hand and the arm for our ghost. So I'm going to get lined up where I want it. I'm going to use my tweezers to hold it in place while I glue it. I'm going to glue the front in place first. So here I'm going to adjust my tweezers so it's holding it from the back. I'll glue the hand down, and then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing to the back. Anthropomorphic, that's the word, when you give inanimate objects human qualities. Okay, so anyways, moving on. Sorry about that. Here we go. We're going to use our tweezers to hold that until the glue sets, and then we'll just add a little bit of glue to the heart to glue it to the ghost. All right, and so now he is ready to go. Yeah. And it's time to start adhering our pieces together so that we can create our little action wobble area. All right, so we're going to I'm going to start by gluing the little bow here to the top of the cat's tail. And then I'm going to glue that connection point to our balloon bundle here. Now at this point, I'm not too worried about getting everything securely adhered. I need things just to I just need them to hold together. So you can see here, I'm adding my balloons and I'm just putting a little bit of glue on the back of the strings where they've added the little circles to give you a bigger connection point. I'm just adding a little bit of glue to each of those for the time being. I will come in and add more glue and more adhesive to make everything super solid. But right now, I just need to tack them in place. And this way, if I need to change anything, I don't have everything completely glued down. I can easily move or shift it around. Even after that glue is dried, I can just detach it, rip it off, whatever. But it's not going to tear everything. So here I'm double checking my placement, making sure that it's going to fit nicely on my background. I'll continue just tacking things into place, for lack of a better word. And once everything is exactly where I want it, I will come in and start adding more adhesive where I need it to make everything solid. Okay, so for this next part, I didn't realize that the camera was not recording, but I went ahead and created the sentiment that is from the Gnome Drive Sentiments set. Heat embossed that on black and then just tucked that into my arrangement. Now I'm going to go in and stabilize everything. So you can see here, I've checked the width or the height of that foam tape. I slipped it behind one of the pumpkins to make sure it was the right thickness to make everything level. And then I'm just going to start tucking these pieces in behind areas where it is not level. So this will just make it all one level piece. And then I'm going to flip the whole thing over and I'm going to adhere a piece of white cardstock to the back and give it a level area to put my action wobbler. Because we bulked up these balloons and made them little shaker balloons, the back is not flat and flush. So by adding this piece of white paper to the back, I'm going to get a nice level surface to attach my action wobbler. All right, I've gone ahead and removed the release tape from one side of the action wobble, and now I'm placing it lightly on my card front to make sure that it's in about the right spot. Once I know it is, I can go ahead and push down. I'm going to use my bone folder to burnish it. Make sure that it is securely adhered to that base there. And then I'm going to double check the weight of my what would this be? My focal point. I want to make sure that it is balanced over that action wobbles and centered. So I'm making sure that the bottom isn't heavier than the top. Because I'm attaching this at the top of my whole arrangement, I need to make sure that it's balanced so that it doesn't sag at the top or the bottom, the left or the right. So once I've got it just right here, you can see I need to move it over just a little. You can see there, when I lay it on, it'll kind of tilt to the side. I'm going to get it perfectly balanced. And once it's perfectly balanced, I will push down to adhere it. And I will trim off the excess because I am going to mount this on a black card base. So I'm going to end up trimming off a 1/4 of an inch from the left side because it ended up being balanced just slightly off to the right. And again, I'm going to push down and then I'm going to flip it over and use my bone folder to burnish it in just like I did with the base. And here you can see how adorable this is. The whole thing just wobbles around and the shaker boxes there shake. It's so cute. Okay, so we're almost done. I've mounted this to a black card base and I want to add a bow tie to our cat. So I'm taking that same piece from the graduation set, and this is the graphite tip for the pencil. And I'm going to cut that twice from orange cardstock and make a little bow for our kitty cat. And for the center of the bow, I'm again going to use that small belt buckle from the witch's hat. Okay, so let's take a look at the finished projects. And I just love how this turned out. I love how cute it is. It's fun. It's a little whimsical. The color palette is unexpected for Halloween. And I mostly love that we were able to utilize all of those add-on dies in a collection. So even if the main die isn't something that's your cup of tea, here we used that graduation, the hearts for you, and the Halloween add-on dies to create an entire card where those add-ons are the main dies. So I just, again, love how this turned out, and the action wobble makes it extra fun. But I did promise you that I would share with you the intended use for this die collection, and that is featuring this adorable little gnome. So here I used the graduation set again to give the ghost a little broom. This is the tassel from the graduation cap. I just used it upside down. Now it looks like a little broom. Again, we used that spiderweb plate in the background And I sprinkled some little stars this time, added some glitter paper, but this is the intended use for this collection, and it's the little gnome driving the car with all of the add-on dies to create different scenarios for different holidays or occasions. Another really fun one. All right, so what have we learned? Just because the theme of a collection may be something you're not interested in, don't forget to take a look at those add-on dies because they're gold, guys. All right, so that finishes up the video for today. Hopefully you picked up something that you can incorporate into your own style. If you're looking for any of the featured supplies that I used in today's video, I'll have them linked in the video description box below. And if you found something useful, make sure to give it a thumbs up. And if you want to, go ahead and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of my future videos. Any interaction at all really helps in the algorithm, you guys. All right, as always, thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.